Welcome to the Rabbit Hole Fantasy Football Podcast. Thoughts, analysis, and information to help you succeed in your fantasy football leagues. I am your host, Chad Lyon, and I am here as always with Tyler Bevel and our producer, Mitchell Bird. Hello. Another day closer to NFL kickoff, Tyler.
I am so ready.
Oh, me too. Today we're previewing the Week 1 Sunday early game slate, 1 o'clock games to be specific. How stoked are you?
Oh, Sunday fun day, baby.
Oh, man, I cannot wait. For the first time ever, I'll be sitting in an office watching games and writing at the same time.
Yeah. But luckily, I'm such a terrible person that, like, when football season starts, everybody knows just not to bother me.
Yeah, yeah. Julie bothers me with food.
That's fine.
And fantasy questions all day long.
She's
got to
stop that. Just bring the food, no fantasy questions.
So you're colluding on
Listen
Sundays.
to the podcast, Julie.
You want to collude? Get on Spotify right now. Hey, before we start this thing, we got a top 3 list here that goes hand in hand with football. Top 3 chicken wing flavors.
Oh, back to the food.
Back to the food. Let's hear it. Give me your chicken wings.
Ooh. Number 1, I'm going to go with Cajun Ranch.
Okay.
Prefer the sauce versus the seasoning.
Gotcha.
Because I've had it both.
Like the dry.
I prefer the sauce versus the dry.
Gotcha. Cajun wings are awesome. I love Cajun flavor in wings.
Mm-hmm. Charwan Hotel does like a Cajun Ranch, and it's just amazing.
Slamming.
Garlic parm, number 2. Kind of hard to mess up. Like, you know, good garlic parm seasoning, I'm all in. And then for 3, just a regular hot wing.
A straight up hot wing.
Hot wing with some ranch to put it in. Boom, boom.
Ooh, you're a ranch over blue cheese guy.
It's iffy. It depends on the blue cheese. I'm fussy on blue cheese, so.
I thought I liked it.
Yeah, I've had some. I've had some watery, thin, terrible blue cheese.
Right. Like, if it's good, thick blue cheese, then I'm in.
Yeah.
But like certain places, I know to just get the ranch. Like,
I like when there's like the chunks in there too.
yeah.
It's not a bad list. How about you, Mitchell?
Okay, we're gonna go with hot garlic as my number 1. Spicy
great.
hot
Love it.
garlic. Yep. Honey barbecue. Garlic parmesan.
Oh, 2 garlic parms.
Yeah, I got to toss
2
that in there.
14-year-old girls sitting in the same room with me.
Wasn't you.
But I want to ask you a question.
parm.
Chad's gonna be like, my favorite is mango habanero.
Ty already answered a little bit, but I was going to ask blue cheese or ranch. But since he answered, how about bone in or boneless? What's your guys'
bone in.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Ty,
Yep.
I can forgive you a little bit. For that.
Yeah, I guess.
As Julie says, she's like, it's not a wing. It's just like,
No, it's just like a chicken.
It's a chunk of chicken breast.
It's a chicken
It's
nugget.
a child's
It's
wing.
a chicken nugget.
Right,
It's exactly
adult nuggets.
Right.
Yeah, essentially. And yeah, blue cheese over ranch again all day. As long as it's, not watery. Blue cheese, that's the worst.
Mhm.
As a substitute, though, I don't have any argument with ranch.
Agreed.
My top 3 is Nashville Hot is number 1. Love it. Love Nashville Hot. God, it's like, it's hot, but there's like, it's not just hot. There's great flavor to Nashville Hot. I'm a big fan. I love Nashville Hot chicken, period. Wings, just a chicken thigh. I don't care how you do it. Nashville Hot chicken's awesome. Just my number 2 is like just a good mild wing. Like not like a good mild wing has flavor. And when you're like starting to bite wing number 10, your pores just slightly open.
Yeah.
That's a good mild wing.
Yeah, okay.
Like there better be a little bit of pore opening.
You don't want your
towards the
eyes
end.
watering, your nose running, and everything.
No,
Right?
no.
You don't want to
I'll
sign
tell
a
you what, though.
waiver.
Right.
Some people make a wicked Nashville Hot that will do that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's not really what I'm, because then it's like, whatever. People could say, oh, you don't like spicy.
You're just trying to prove.
It's like,
a point.
yes, I do,
It's
but
stupid.
can I have some flavor? Like,
Right.
it's just straight heat.
I want to taste
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. And number 3 is honey barbecue.
Honey
Mm.
barbecue.
Yep.
Go.
2 garlic parms, 2 honey barbecue.
Yeah.
I should say, though, had I thought this through a little more, and I should have, honey barbecue should be off the list, and hot garlic should be on there. So,
There's a restaurant way down, like off of 44. It's Mountaintop, and this dude smokes everything.
Mm.
And he makes like his hot wings, and you can taste the smoke flavor. Like and they are, oh man.
Worth the trip.
I think I've seen this place.
And I think his version of the Nashville Hot, he calls Tennessee Smoke.
It's fine.
But he smokes them too, and oh man,
I'll
they're
try
so good.
Yeah, wings are a staple for us. Julie orders them from the service that delivers food to where she works, and we get a good deal on them. And she makes wings a lot through football.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she bakes them so long, and then she'll take them out and like air fry them to finish them off to make them like crispy.
Oh, yeah.
And then she'll take them out of there and toss them in the sauce. After she tosses them in the sauce, she air fries them a second time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, bake it on there a little
yeah,
bit.
way to do it.
Yep. And then if you want, you can pour a little sauce on top, and you're done. It's awesome. And I go bougie, man. I pull out the wallet for the blue cheese at the store.
Yeah.
I buy top shelf when
what
she's
you
making them. For sure. No watery stuff here.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else before we move on?
No, but that's got to be like the most American game day snack, right?
Yeah.
Like some hot wings. Like, come on.
We'll have to do a football food.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe we'll do that next. All right. Sunday early games. First game here. Yeah. Panthers at the Saints.
Okay. Not as exciting as
This game just screams excitement. New season, new faces. Who knows? As far as fantasy football goes, I don't think it's going to be great in real life. But Ty, do you think Dave Canales gets Bryce Young and the Panthers going, or are we just in for another stalemate? I feel like if anyone can, Dave Canales can.
Yeah.
He's kind of proven that.
Yeah. Like you like what happened with Baker there, obviously under Dave Canales.
Gino too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's hard to get excited. You hope so. And I think it's got to come in a short passing game because I still don't think they've beefed it up a little bit, but I still think this offensive line is going to be a problem. Because to Bryce Young's credit, there was a lot of stuff on tape that I didn't like, but that kid was beat up back there too.
Oh, for sure. He didn't stand a chance.
They had, until Chuba Hubbard took over at the back end of the year, they had little to no running game.
Yep.
I think improvements this year for this Panthers offense.
I have to think so. Like, it can't get worse. I think you stated that several episodes ago. Like, it can't go backwards.
No, and you kind of an under the radar pickup has been like the trade with Deontay Johnson because if you can take away anything you want from Deontay Johnson, his attitude, everything else you want to say, but that guy is a separation artist.
Mr. Separation.
Yep.
Yep.
And I think he's going to catch a lot of passes from Bryce Young. I think Bryce Young might have a security blanket for the first time in his young career.
Okay. Well, speaking of quarterbacks, do you have any interest in these quarterbacks outside of Superflex in this game?
No.
Young and Carr.
I mean, I don't have a problem having Bryce Young in a dynasty, but I hope that he's not my 2 even. If I'm being totally honest about it, I have no problem having him and hoping that things get better, but
as far as this week, I mean, there's no real interest there. No. Okay. All right, let's move on to running backs. Panther side of the ball. Chuba Hubbard, Miles Sanders, Raheem Blackshear. I think Brooks is on IR. I think you can go ahead and put Blackshear on the shelf. Hubbard and Sanders. Man, I want it to be Sanders so bad, but it's going to be Hubbard. It's going to be Hubbard.
Yeah, I would love to see Sanders.
Yeah.
And hopefully he gets on the field and can show that he still has some gas in the tank.
Yeah.
But I just think the way that last season ended, Chuba Hubbard gets the nod and
for sure
gets the benefit of the doubt.
Any interest in starting him?
No.
Like to go elsewhere if you can. I mean, if you have him, you shouldn't have to unless you really, really waited.
Yeah, maybe in a flex if he's, depending on what your team's like. But as a RB1 or 2, no.
Not a bad flex, probably.
No.
How about Saints side? Alvin Kamara, Jamal Williams, Kendra Miller on IR. Apparently, Dennis Allen doesn't like him at all. Said, look it up. You'll see what I'm talking about. It's Alvin Kamara here. Jamal Williams is the handcuff. It's pretty evident at this point. I mean, if you have him, you're starting him.
If I have Kamara, he's in the lineup for sure.
Yeah, that's not really a question. I don't love Alvin Kamara in other formats, but I mean, I
don't like him in other formats. And like I said, if you have him, you have to start him. But I also don't like him in this matchup.
Panthers are a little better than what they're given credit for.
Their defense,
on the defensive
certainly.
side. Yeah. I'm saying if you have him, start him, man. I mean,
sure, but I don't think the rushing game is going to be there. I think you're banking on his
we've
receiving ability,
right? And we've talked about that before. We are expecting a bit of a downslide potentially, but they don't have the most weapons in the world, so we'll see what happens there. It's real tough before we have anything to put stock into. You don't have any numbers, and you're just kind of going off your gut here. All right, let's move on to wide receivers. Panther side, Deontay Johnson, Adam Thielen, Xavier Legette, Jonathan Mingo. It's Deontay Johnson or nobody.
I'll start Deontay Johnson.
Yeah, for sure. Wide receiver 2 with
If
upside.
he's your flex, you're doing real good.
Yeah, yep. I'm no interest in Thielen, no interest in Leggett.
No, I think this is the year where Thielen,
He's a very low end flex, if anything.
and I don't think he's going to be that come into the year.
And I think we touched on this before with Deontay Johnson. Is he a flex to you with receiver 2 upside or receiver 2 plain as day? Happy to have him in your flex.
Receiver 2.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Any 1 upside on some weeks maybe?
Certain weeks, but I don't think it's going to be a regular
It's going to be more of a catch thing than anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
PPR machine.
Sure. Yeah, Mr. Separation. Over to the Saints side. Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed. After that, it's A.T. Perry, Bub Means. Yeah, I mean, if you have Chris Olave, you're starting him. Are you expecting anything good out of Olave immediately?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's...
Out of all the players, I want to start Olave over Kamara.
Sure.
Like,
sure.
I mean, like if I had to pick one Saints player to start, like I want Chris Olave.
Yeah, I think I would take Olave over everybody we're going to talk about, just ahead of Deontay Johnson. I mean, quite ahead of Deontay Johnson. Just because 160-yard ball could, I mean, yes. And Deontay Johnson's not most likely going to get that opportunity.
No.
It's just not what he does. And Olave's really good, man. And I really like Chris Olave. It's just I don't like what he's got going on where he's at.
No, it's
I wish he was on a better team. I wish
just a better quarterback.
Maybe we'll see what happens.
Not that Derek Carr can't get him the ball, but you just
I don't know, man. He's a game manager who's like you said, for whatever reason, we just expect so much more. Or we don't. I don't. But a lot of people expect a lot more out of Derek Carr than what he's going to give you. So yeah, but still, give me some Olave. He's a receiver 2. Absolutely could give you receiver 1 numbers. He's an every week start.
With everything we've said about Derek Carr, I still expect Chris Olave to be in that top 25, top 20 wide receiver range by the end of the year.
Sure, if he's there's a handful of places we could name that you'd rather have him be. He's really great potential for a much higher than a top 20 receiver. Sure. I mean, he could push, 12, 10. That's what you'd love to see with him.
I do like Shaheed a lot this year, and I'm not afraid to roll him out week 1.
And the flex?
Yep.
Really?
Just the way that
even is he returning kicks? Do we know that?
I don't know if he's returning kicks or not. I doubt it. But I just think the way that this offense is geared, that there's going to be a lot more short passes. I think there's going to be a lot more opportunity for Shaheed this year, unless he's superseded by somebody. It's
going to have to be A.T. Perry,
and I just don't see that.
Yeah. We'll see on Perry. Jury's still out with him.
Yeah.
I'm a little intrigued to see if anything develops for him at all this year. Okay, let's move on to tight end. Panthers side, Jatavian Sanders. I
wait and see. I gotta see it.
There's nothing here to start. However, on the Saints side,
yeah, buddy,
Juwan Johnson. Here we go.
I'll start him.
No interest in Taysom Hill. I'm sorry. People like to play around with that. I don't mess with it.
Listen, if you want to have him on your roster and play that game, fine. I don't.
Nope.
He is the most boomer bust player in the NFL.
He is.
And I just don't want that on my fantasy roster. If you do and you want to play the matchups, I don't think this is a good matchup for Taysom Hill. But it's so hard to read because they could get inside the 5 and line him up in the quarterback position. I mean, you just don't know.
Yeah.
And I just don't want to play that game. I want a guy who's in his position, playing that position.
Yeah. I don't want to chance it with a guy who might get a carry from the 6 and score. And then that's it.
Or he could have
nothing.
3 carries for 12 yards, 2 incomplete passes, and that's it.
Yep. Yeah. Yep.
But Juwan Johnson, give me Juwan Johnson.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I hope he hits a little bit. I hope he's like a lower end starter because we've kind of boasted him up a little bit, the possibility.
Yeah,
of what
but
he
I'm
could do.
sticking with that.
But I'm saying if you rode with that notion, there's a really good chance that you drafted an awesome team and then took him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think he's going to pay off for you, though.
Yeah, especially in tight end premium. I think where, you get a little boost there. Give me some Juwan Johnson. You start in either defense? If anything, it's the Saints. Right?
I'd start the Saints defense.
Okay. Same. All right, let's move on to the Vikings at the Giants. The Darnold Jones Bowl, baby.
Yeah.
Let's go. Same as last game, QB wise, right? I mean, you don't outside of Superflex. There's no interest there.
I don't even want him in Superflex.
Well, I mean,
Maybe Sam Darnold
if you're a
surprises.
competing team and have Sam Darnold as your third in a Superflex dynasty league, there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
There's nothing wrong with that. But in the interest of week to week here and redraft, there's.
But even like with that scenario, you were hoping that Sam, and it's so uncertain. You're still in that scenario hoping that Sam Darnold can come out and show something, because if not, there's no future there.
Oh, right.
In a dynasty league, you know what I mean? Like,
right. But if you're win now, why not? He's your third wheel.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. In a
But
Superflex type dynasty setting, yeah, for sure. But anything outside of that, I've got no interest in either one of these guys. None.
No, you have to hope for some serious improvements from Sam Darnold.
Okay. Let's move on to running backs. On the Viking side, Aaron Jones and Ty Chandler. Now, listen, obviously, if you have Aaron Jones, you're starting him. I hope those of you that took him also drafted Ty Chandler.
Yeah.
You feel good? You feel pretty good about starting Aaron Jones against the Giants this week?
No.
Tell me why.
The Giants' run defense, I think, is going to be pretty stout. New system, week 1. That's not the. Again, if you have Aaron Jones, you probably have to start him. But do I feel good about it? No. I think this is a tough matchup. I think, going to take some time getting used to the new offense. Sam Darnold at the helm, I feel like they're going to load the box up some. I just don't like it. I'm not excited about it, put it that way.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I kind of feel that. Giants defense is sneakier than folks think. It's just it's the offensive side, man. It's
a lot of young players on
a lot
the
of what
defense.
a lot of what the Bears have gone through defensively. Like
yeah.
Well,
even though you think the last year that Giants defense and how terrible the quarterback play was, and DeVito was in there for a while,
right?
And that defense still kept them in games against good teams.
Yep, they're sneaky. They're and they can stifle some good teams at times, and create a lower than expected fantasy output from whatever opposing player you
and their draft
hope
capital
for.
in the last couple of years has leaned heavily towards that defense, and it's starting to show a little bit, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, on over to the Giants side. Devin Singletary, Tyrone Tracy. No interest there in Eric Gray, but Devin Singletary, that's a sneaky RB2. Definite flex.
Yeah, and if I have the choice, I want to start Devin Singletary in this matchup over Aaron Jones. I prefer Devin Singletary in this matchup to Aaron Jones.
If your only option was an RB2 when you're looking at these two,
I'm taking Devin Singletary for this matchup. Yep.
Right on. Any concern that Tyrone Tracy puts a dent in what Singletary can do, or not yet?
Not yet.
Not yet. Is Tyrone Tracy outside of a handcuff someone that you want to have rostered?
Oh yeah.
In a redraft league.
Yep.
Redraft.
Still want Tyrone Tracy in a redraft league. Be patient. Hold on to him. I think by the end of the year, that kid's getting some work.
Be a worthy handcuff.
Yep.
Okay.
I think he's a handcuff now.
Oh, for sure. Yes.
So, I mean, even if you're going that route with Devin Singletary, I think Tyrone Tracy is the handcuff now if you're going that route. But, I mean, even if I don't have Devin Singletary, I don't mind having Tyrone Tracy on a redraft roster.
Bottom of your bench. Just
hang out there. Be patient.
Okay. On to wide receiver side, let's go with the Vikings first. Justin Jefferson. That's an obvious. I mean, you start him. It is what it is. He honestly, I mean, as much as what we said about Sam Darnold, like I would not be surprised at all if Justin Jefferson has 120 yards and a touchdown. I just
every draft we've done this year.
Yep.
Sam Darnold has fallen, or Justin Jefferson has fallen.
Yes.
I still believe those people that are taking Justin Jefferson, we've seen him go as far down as 9.
Yep.
You're getting a deal.
Oh, yeah.
Everything we just said about Sam Darnold is still good enough to get Justin Jefferson the ball, and he will.
Totally agree. Jordan Addison is questionable with an ankle. We'll wait and see what develops there. So make sure you're checking, because you're not going to hear from us on these games. So make sure you're checking your stuff. Jalen Naylor. If there's no Jordan Addison, is there any interest in Jalen Naylor?
No.
For a week?
I want Jefferson.
Here's my thing, too. If you're looking at Jalen Naylor in week 1, what did you do in your draft?
Right.
Like, what have you done?
Find another option.
Yeah, seriously. And obviously no interest in Brandon Powell. If Jordan Addison, if he does start, you starting him as a flex?
It's iffy. I'm hoping I have a better option, honestly.
Okay. Giants side, Malik Neighbors, Jalen Hyatt, Wandale Robinson. I believe Wandale's the 2 here. What's your interest level in Malik Neighbors?
Malik Neighbors is tough.
You have to start him,
because
though.
where you drafted him.
You don't have a choice. He's probably your 2.
Yeah, depending. Now, there's teams where you personally, now granted, the one that I'm thinking of is a dynasty.
Yeah.
And because of how Chad drafts very heavily on the wide receiver, you could probably get away with starting somebody else week 1. Most teams in redraft are not going to have that option, but I am not excited about any of these Giants wide receivers this week.
No, I'm honestly, like, to me, outside of Neighbors, it's an avoid. And if I have to start Neighbors again, I don't know, man. Could there though be a target scenario where it's just like he's just hogging up everything that gets thrown, and to where like you have that Deontay Johnson aspect
with Neighbors?
Yeah. But obviously he's quite a bit more electric with the ball in his hands, I think, than what Deontay Johnson is. So could create something like that's what just makes me wonder. Like, could this be an after the catch kind of just creates plays with the ball in his hand and like you start him?
I will say this: they are going to take shots at Malik Neighbors.
Absolutely, they are.
Like, they're coming out there. Even Daniel Jones,
more than anybody else on that team.
He hears all the talk. Like, they're gonna come out there and take some shots at Neighbors. It's a good chance one of them hits, and that's what you're hoping for.
Yeah.
As far as like the yak and run after the catch, I don't know.
My thing, like in a redraft, if I draft someone like Neighbors, that means I took him probably with my 3rd-ish pick.
Somewhere around
you
there.
Should, if you draft like me, your first 4 picks, you'll have 4 receivers, and you most likely won't have to start Malik Neighbors.
Right. That was my...
Sure. But to have him hanging around would be a great thing to have.
Yeah.
To see that on your bench is a pretty good feeling.
And you have to put the factor in of, this is still a rookie coming out there for his welcome to the NFL moment, And I'm not saying, I know the kid went to LSU, he's played some big games. Don't get me wrong. But it's different.
It's very different. Okay. Let's move on to the tight ends here, and I don't think there's anything. Hawkinson out 4 weeks with a bye in week 6, so you're probably looking at week 7 or so there. And then after that, it's Johnny Munt or Josh Oliver. I'm not going to waste any time there. And I don't think we need to waste any time with Theo Johnson or Daniel Bellinger as far as fantasy football goes. What do you think?
No.
Yeah,
best of the bunch, I'm going Bellinger.
Sure. I hope you're in a really deep league if you're starting him. Good Lord. Any interest at all in either of these defenses?
Yeah. The Giants defense.
Okay. Give me the Vikings.
You like
against
the Vikings
Daniel
defense?
Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's so haphazard, man. Give me whoever Daniel Jones is playing most.
I get that. My thing with Sam Darnold in a new offense, but you're absolutely right about
not
that.
Haphazard.
Right.
It's also, yeah. So I mean, you could make an argument for either one there. I think, right?
You also worry about Darnold, like with McCarthy only being hurt. Like, how many first team reps has Darnold had throughout camp? Granted, he's got them since the injury, but it's
maybe more than we think too.
Probably.
Okay. Let's move on to the Patriots and the Bengals.
What is going on?
This Jamar Chase thing is a bummer.
Week 1 matchup.
Yeah, right. What's going on with Jamar Chase, man? See, he's back at practice today, but for crying out loud, what did you do? Oh, he got to be. And also, Jermaine Burton looks like he's just going to redshirt this year. Basically, he can't be an adult. I don't know, man. He's not growing up.
So much talent. It's a shame.
Yep. Stash him for Dynasty, but
T. Higgins is looking like should have paid me. See what's going on here?
yeah, no kidding. Hey, how long do we expect Jacoby Brissett to start before May gets his first crack?
Not long.
3 weeks?
Maybe 3/4. No, I don't know. A couple weeks, but I think it's a short leash.
Yeah, me too. It's got to be under 4. Like, what's your under 4 weeks?
Then Drake May really under.
Yeah.
Part of that is the hype that May created in his preseason play. I mean, it looked decent.
Yeah, it really did. Okay, we'll see there. I can't imagine much more than a couple weeks, right? You're starting Burrow if you have him, most likely. I think we know the answer to that on Brissett. So
If
anyway,
you have Burrow and you're starting another quarterback, you drafted wrong.
yeah, you did something weird. I don't know. It's like, who do I? I'm in a 10-team league.
Do I start Pat Mahomes or Joe
Burrow? Oh man, they exist. Oh, Mitchell raises his hand. Oh man. Oh, was that last year? No, right now, literally.
Literally this year, your redraft, I did that. But I got Burrow way late.
He
It was
did.
way
Burrow
too late.
fell. It was at that point. It was ridiculous.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I had Chase, so it was like, well, I guess I'll stack if I want to.
Start Burrow unless you're in Mitchell's shoes. So let's move on to running back here. Patriots side. Ramondre Stevenson, Antonio Gibson. What's your interest level there, Ty?
I have interest level in both of these players, but this week I think you're starting Ramondre Stevenson, seeing what happens with Gibson.
For sure.
But I've been pretty adamant that I think Gibson is going to have a pretty good year in New England.
Yeah, and you have made that point. He's going to get the old what was his name? Danny Woodhead treatment.
Danny Woodhead, yeah. I think I went Shane Vereen, but Danny Woodhead's actually better. Yeah.
Either way. Ramondre Stevenson's an RB2, right? Yeah, you have him, you start him.
Yeah.
Bengals side, Zach Moss and Chase Brown. I'm going to wait on the Chase Brown thing right now. I'm going to go ahead and probably lean Zach Moss, but probably more like a flex with maybe RB2 upside.
I'm going to combat that a little bit and say that I'm starting Chase Brown. If I have to pick between one of those two, I'm starting Chase Brown this week. If I have to pick between him and Zach Moss, I just don't think the upside is there with Zach Moss like it is Chase Brown. And like, if you run the ball with Zach Moss 6 or 7 times, and there's no explosiveness, you're just getting mediocre games. Like,
sure. I'm not ready to do that yet, though. Like, I would quite honestly, I would prefer to avoid this for a little bit and see what, a week
I
or
would
two
prefer
and see what
that,
happens.
but you can't convince me at this point with a little bit of tape that I've seen from Chase Brown that he's not the better running back.
That's fine. I just think, on average, you should have a better flex option.
And you should. I have Chase Brown in both redraft leagues that I did this year, and I have plenty of running backs to start ahead of him.
Right. So it's like you want to roll the dice. I don't want to get cute in week 1, man. I'm not.
No.
But
if you did draft then at running back and you're standing there,
it's like, I could flex Chase Brown.
and because Zach Moss was a late pick too, and say that you just had a stud like Pacheco or Barkley or something early, and then you came back and got Chase Brown and Zach Moss, my advice would be Chase Brown.
Okay, good enough. I'm not ready to say that yet, but I get it. I do. Obviously, I wouldn't have been banging the drum either.
Yeah.
So I get it. I understand. All right, on to wide receiver for the Patriots side. Jalen Polk, Demario Douglas, Javon Baker, KJ Osborne, Tyquan Thornton, Kendrick Bourne is out. I mean, I'm avoiding. I'm not starting any of these guys.
I'm going to put you in the spot, though. You got to pick one.
Demario Douglas.
Yeah. Just been there, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's. But I really don't want to.
No.
Bengals side, Jamar Chase? Question mark? Yeah, he's probably going to play.
If he plays, he's in your roster.
Oh yeah,
he's in your lineup.
It's not a question. T. Higgins, Andre Yoshivas. So I want to talk about him real quick.
Okay.
This Jermaine Burton redshirt thing this year. Boy, I tell you what, that puts him in the Tyler Boyd role. Yoshivas.
Burrow has proven in his career when he's healthy that he is going to have 3 fantasy relevant wide receivers.
Yep, and I think Yoshivas could be a very sneaky ad.
Yeah.
If he went undrafted and maybe you took a late quarterback like Bryce Young or something like that and stuck him on your bench, drop him and pick up Yoshivas.
Yeah.
Like drop whatever trash you have and you're looking at the bottom of your bench, you're like, why did I even pick him? If Yoshivas is available, cut that guy and just go pick him up. T. Higgins is T. Higgins. If you have him, you're starting him. No doubt there. On to tight end for the Patriots. Hunter Henry, Austin Hooper, Jaheim Bell. I prefer not to start any of them, though I do have this weird little intrigue on Hunter Henry when Drake May enters. I do have this little inkling. Like, I'm not going to put him on my team right now or anything like that, but I think Hunter Henry is worth having your eyes on. I can't believe I'm actually saying this, but I do believe he's worth having your eyes on.
Yeah, the only thing that I would say that I slightly disagree with that on is that Brissett is a very tight end friendly quarterback too.
Okay, so keep your eyes on him right now.
Yeah.
And just
think
see what happens. I'm not clamoring for him. I'm not running to get him. I'm not if I'm looking at a guy and I'm going, I don't know, should I drop him? I'm not dropping him for Hunter Henry. Like, I'm going to make myself very clear.
right.
If I have an open spot, if I just send a guy to IR.
He's going to be there, wait for waivers if something happens. And
Yeah, he's worth having your eye on. On over to the Bengals side, I no real interest. Mike Gesicki, Eric All, Tanner Hudson. A lot of these names, there's no reason to even say them. I'm just, letting you know who's there, I guess. It's Gesicki, but
I want to watch Eric All.
Yeah, that's fine too.
My problem is the rotation at Bengal tight end, and we've talked about that quite a bit.
Right.
You just if the Bengals would have one tight end that played 80% of the snaps, I'd feel so much better about it, but it just doesn't seem like they ever do.
I have no problem watching Eric All in Dynasty, but I'm not watching any of these tight ends.
I don't think you have any of these guys on your team in a redraft league.
No. So, okay, let's start the Bengals defense against Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah.
Yep, me too. And I'm not starting the Patriots defense.
I really like Stevenson in this matchup, though.
Yeah.
I do think the Patriots are going to be able to run the ball against the Bengals. I think Stevenson has a good day.
They're going to put an emphasis on it.
Sure.
That alone makes him very viable. He's already viable as it is. That just gives him a little boost. All right, let's move on to the Steelers at the Falcons. Dangerous and Captain Kirk.
Yeah.
Both debuting for their new teams. Little bit of an awkward situation for Arthur Smith here. Against his former team. How are we feeling starting either one of these quarterbacks?
I'll start Kirk Cousins. I'm not feeling great about it because
No.
I think Kirk Cousins is going to have a great year. I think first game in a new system against the Steelers defense is tough, but you hope you have a better option. How's that? But
I'm going to avoid them both if I can. I mean, if I went the whole route where I just, hammered out receivers, running backs, and tight ends and waited for Kirk Cousins, I'm starting them because that's what I did. But I think if you can avoid it, you avoid them both.
Yeah, and if you did that, you probably should have taken Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, probably so. Matt Stafford. I don't know. We'll see. On to running back here. Steelers. Najee Harris and Jalen Warren. Jalen Warren's questionable with a hamstring. Seems to be okay for Sunday.
Yeah, it's very much in the air, though.
Okay.
I want to wait
ahead.
this situation out heavily and avoid it if possible.
Okay.
I do have a redraft league where I have Najee, and it's not going to be an option because I waited on running back pretty heavy, and I'm going to start Najee, but this situation is... I'll make the argument that I don't even know if this is going to be a two-headed monster. I think there's potential that this could be a three-headed monster. Do I think Cordero Patterson is going to be fantasy relevant? No. Do I think he is going to affect Najee Harris and Jalen Warren's fantasy numbers? Yes.
I agree. Arthur Smith does weird stuff.
Yeah.
Like all this Darnell Washington. It's just like throughout the preseason, which is fine. You get him some work, but it's like, hey, first team's out there. You have Pat Freiermuth standing right next to you on the side. Like, what are you doing? Stop coming in and doing the weird shit already. I'm sorry. Like, stop.
Darnell Washington's a freak. If you're going to run two tight end sets, by all means.
Sure.
But as an all-around tight end, I think Freiermuth's potential is still untapped. I mean, we've seen a couple good years with Ben, and and again, Arthur Smith is fantasy cancer.
He is. Like
you want to be excited about Pat Freiermuth. And by all means, Pat Freiermuth should have a good year. But the Arthur Smith factor I don't know.
It makes me really nervous about having any Steelers.
Yeah.
Outside of Pat Freiermuth in a dynasty league, and I think maybe late in a redraft, I don't think I have any Steelers, man.
I have George Pickens in a redraft, and I have Freiermuth in a couple leagues.
I'm just so concerned about the Arthur Smith factor. It's terrifying.
It's a problem.
It is. It's a real problem.
Like I said, he is fantasy football cancer.
He sure is. And he does weird stuff.
And people say, well, they don't care. It's real life. Well, guess what? Arthur Smith sucked as a coach. Like, you can say that all you want, but Like the stuff with the Falcons, like Kyle Pitts and Bijan Robinson. Like, what are you doing?
Seriously. Now, I understand Pitts wasn't exactly fully healthy last year. I'll give him that. And the quarterback play
Terrible
was
QB
atrocious.
Yeah.
I mean,
like the catchable passes.
it's like 37%
It was terrible.
uncatchable. Like,
It
what
was
are we
terrible.
doing? This is horrible. Man.
That's not going to happen this year.
I sure hope not. No, Falcon side for running backs. Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier. You're starting Bijan. He was like a number one pick in a lot of drafts. You're starting Bijan.
Yeah, and as good as
I don't
the
care who he's
Steelers'
playing.
defense is, I will say one thing. If I was a coach with what little knowledge I have, I'm a Steelers fan. If I'm a coach and I have to play the Pittsburgh Steelers, I am running that football right up the middle all day.
Yep.
Because that seems like something that they can just not stop.
Could be a big day, right? Like immediately week 1 for Bijan. I think he could have a great game.
Yeah.
Tyler Algier. I hope if you drafted Bijan, I hope you have Algier because he might be one of the most important handcuffs in fantasy football.
Don't be dumb.
No.
Leave him on your roster. Don't. If you have Bijan, leave him there. Don't touch it.
Yep. He is not I'll drop him for a defense this
No.
week. No, drop the defense you have. My good Lord, keep
Right.
Algier. Okay. Wide receivers, Steelers side, George Pickens, Van Jefferson, Calvin Austin. I have no interest at all in anybody named George Pickens.
Okay. I was going to say, give me George Pickens for sure.
Roman Wilson, questionable with an ankle injury. I don't think that's going to matter whether he's injured or available. I don't think it's going to matter. Maybe in real life it will help, but it's not going to help in fantasy. George Pickens, only interest I have. I can't even believe I'm saying Van Jefferson right after the name George Pickens. I guess it's just,
he's the 2, though.
He is the 2, and in real life, as Tyler has stated earlier in our conversation off the microphone, he thinks Van Jefferson could have a good year, and so do I. I agree with him, but a good year in real life standards,
Not in fantasy.
So George Pickens, that's it.
Right.
And if you have him, start him. Yep. Falcons, Drake London, Darnell Mooney. After that, Ray McLeod, Kadarius Hodge, Casey Washington. I have to think Casey Washington could make the best case for 3. I don't know.
Yeah. If you're desperate in a deep league, I assume Ray McLeod is going to return kicks.
Sure.
And maybe he gets into some of the wide
But like
receivers.
this is nobody. This is week 1. That's like a week 8 thing. Like if you're desperate, Ray
you
McLeod,
have to be. I mean,
but like,
you have
come
to
on,
be
man. It's
16-man league. Like it's got to be.
Yeah. Yep. Maybe he got auto picked on accident twice.
I hope he still ended up with something better than Ray McLeod.
For real. You're starting Drake London. You could make an argument for Darnell Mooney in the flex.
Yeah, let me see it first. But
Yep. Agreed. He's a bench stash right now. Tight ends. Steelers side. Pat Freiermuth. It's the only name you need to know for fantasy, and I think he's got to be the 2 in targets here.
yeah,
He's got to be the number 2 in targets. So I like Pat Freiermuth. I think he could finish inside the top 10.
if Arthur Smith doesn't get dumb,
yeah.
Pat Freiermuth could be
9,
number
10,
1
11.
in targets.
Oh, sure. As far as a finish, though, I think Freiermuth could be 9, 10, 11.
He should be.
He certainly should be, which makes him a low-end tight end 1.
Yeah.
Really, there's no reason, no excuse.
And he's right on that fringe where if you drafted him, you were waiting on a tight end. You probably don't have another one unless you just doubled up because he was hanging out there or something. But most likely, you waited and took a Freiermuth or a Goddard somewhere in that range, and you're hoping that he...
I like him in Dynasty a lot.
Oh, me too.
Like his contract's going to be coming up here soon. You're talking like 26, 27 years old, and he's going to be highly sought after.
I don't even think he's that old. Like, I think he's 25 right now.
I'll let you pull that up. But you think about that, how highly sought after he could be for some of these teams that would need a tight end.
Yeah. He's 25 right now.
Okay. So by the time his contract, 26 and a half-ish.
Yeah. I think this would be the final year of his rookie contract. So they'll have the option to pick up the 5th year. And then
I'm curious to see what happens with that.
Yeah.
Because I have high interest in him in Dynasty. whether he stays there or goes elsewhere. I like the age. He's kind of a cheap get.
Yeah.
All right, Falcons, Kyle Pitts. I don't know, man. It has to happen this year.
This is
or it
the
doesn't.
year. This is it.
Or it's not. Because if it's not, I'm done.
It's going to be. I think it's going to be.
Oh, okay.
Starting.
I agree, man. But yeah, start him for sure.
Roll him out. Feel good about it.
Yep, here we
Hit
go.
that button like,
Kyle Pitts season. It's time. Interest in any defense?
No.
Not really. I'd like to avoid. If you had to pick one, who would it be?
Honestly, the Falcons.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. But I think the Falcons are going to be able to run the ball against Pittsburgh.
Bijan could have a day, and that could just.
And you know
kill
how
you.
Kirk Cousins is with play action, man. Like if you can get the running game going with Kirk Cousins play action, he can be lethal.
Yep.
And what I've seen from Russ in the preseason, give me the Falcons defense if I have to choose one.
Okay. Kyle Pitts is dealing with a hamstring injury.
Yeah.
We should note that, which I don't like. Man, that's terrifying. I hope it's nothing. He's chalking it up as nothing, but they all do that, so I hope it's nothing. I wanted to just get that out there real quick. Okay, let's move on to the Texans and the Colts. I'm pretty excited about a lot of things in this one. I'm really curious to watch Richardson. I want this thing to happen so bad. I want it to happen so bad, man.
Yeah.
I really like the upside there as far as fantasy goes is insane.
I think struggle bus week 1.
You think so?
Fantasy output, I think he's going to have to do it on his feet because I think he's going to struggle against this Texans defense.
Yeah, they're no joke.
No.
The Texans defense is the real deal. I'm also excited about the Texans offense as a whole as it pertains to fantasy. There's a lot going on there.
Oh, yeah.
If I'm asking you which quarterback you prefer,
Stroud.
It's Stroud. It's Richardson for me.
Okay.
I'll roll the dice. Again, running quarterbacks, probably it's a bit of a problem.
And you don't have a choice, but chances are. You
probably
have
not.
One of these quarterbacks, and they're your guy that you're starting.
Yeah. If you got them both, you did something. You should probably trade one and get something else that you should have got, like a running back or receiver or something. I will take Anthony Richardson in that instance, and I will bank on the ridiculous upside. Running back, Texan side, Joe Mixon is really the only name that we need to know here, unless you're BJ and you have Cam Akers. Quick inside joke. BJ made a trade for Cam Akers and is essentially calling for him starter by week 5. I don't know where he's
Dalton Schultz.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say that part, but
he got the third with Cam Akers, but it was for Dalton Schultz.
For Dalton, a tight end premium. No thanks.
We don't know what happened.
I don't get it. I don't know where he gets his news and thinks Cam Akers is going to start by week 5 over Joe Mixon. Even with injury.
If he does that, it'll just be terrible.
BJ, if you're listening, I want to send you that clown emoji so bad. I sent to him to the group chat. Hey Siri, give me a reminder to send BJ an emoji of a clown in week 5. So it's Joe Mixon and you're starting him. On the Colts side is Jonathan Taylor and you're starting him.
Which one do you like more?
Jonathan Taylor.
Yep. Okay.
Yep, for sure. And also, I think it's important to know if you do have Jonathan Taylor, I think it's a good idea to have Trey Sermon. I don't think you need to scrape and claw for it, but he is the handcuff. I just want to make that note real quick. Maybe you. What if you have? I mean, if you have a backup for another
nothing
quarterback,
from Trey Sermon.
No, we have not. But he's who else?
Evan Hall.
I don't like what we've seen out of Evan Hall.
We've seen 2 plays, and he got hurt.
Yeah, I don't like what I've seen out of Evan Hall, period.
Okay, fair enough.
I think I don't understand the love there. People like Evan Hall. Liked him a lot last year, coming in.
Yeah.
I don't know. Trey Sermon's the handcuff. I mean, he's the 2 on the depth chart. So it was just a note.
Yeah.
If you have a deeper bench, it's not a bad idea because Jonathan Taylor was clearly the first running back.
I'm not wasting a roster spot on either of those handcuffs. I'll be honest with you.
Either of them?
No.
As in like Dameon Pierce or Cam Akers?
As in Evan Hall or Trey Sermon.
I mean, you could have absolutely had some. What if you took James Cook and you have Ty Johnson and Ray Davis isn't available, but you also have Jonathan Taylor? I will cut Ty Johnson because that was a bad idea.
Okay, I will too, but I'm not picking up Trey Sermon. I'll find somebody else.
Geez, I would. I want to ensure my one. I mean, it's not like earth shattering. It's not gonna. Trey Sermon's not gonna win you weeks, but when things get slim, I'll flex him if I had to.
Yeah. I don't want to keep.
That's
We're talking about Trey Sermon and Evan.
Yeah,
Hall,
we're gonna keep talking about Trey Sermon.
Well, then I'm gonna say if Jonathan Taylor gets hurt, that's a timeshare, and I think Evan Hall is the better back.
I disagree.
Okay.
I'll take the big build whatever he is and Trey Sermon.
Right.
That
The
we
guy
don't
got
know.
cut from 3 different teams.
Yeah.
And never played.
Give me him inside the 5.
Okay.
Mitchell, cut that whole thing out.
No, leave it. We're coming back to this.
All right.
We spent 5 minutes on Trey Sermon and Evan Hall. We're coming back to it. All right, moving on.
Jonathan Taylor will not get hurt all year. And
Yeah,
it's not gonna
hopefully
matter
that's
at
the
all.
case,
I
right.
really hope so. I want to see him bounce back in a huge way. Wide receivers for the Texans, Stephon Diggs, Nico Collins, Tank Dell. That is a lot to comb through.
Yeah, let's start any of them.
Yeah, for sure. Dell's a great flex. Nico and Diggs have, their receiver 2s with 1 upsides.
Yeah.
For sure, both of them. You start all 3 in some fashion. Colts side, Michael Pittman, Josh Downs, A.D. Mitchell, Alec Pierce. No real interest outside of Michael Pittman, to be honest. How about you?
No. Show me that Anthony Richardson can read defenses and throw the ball before I put any security or any hope in him making more than 1 wide receiver fantasy relevant.
Completely agree. Tight end side, let's go with the Texans and Dalton Schultz. He's not a must start.
No,
There's a chance you
this
could
is a
have,
fringe.
Sure, you could have Evan Ingram and Dalton Schultz. They could be, and
Yeah.
in that case, I'll take Ingram. But if it's something you waited on and you went heavy elsewhere, then you could start Schultz. That's fine. Colts side, no thank you. Jelani Woods is now on season-ending IR with turf toe. Kylan Granson, Mo Alley Cox, no thanks. Nope. Starting either defense.
Texans.
Yeah, it's not the Colts. It's the Texans. All right, next game. Cardinals at the Bills.
Now we're talking.
Yeah. Tyler, what has you the most curious here?
Josh Allen. And how this wide receiver room is going to shake out, how this Bills offense is going to look. I'm excited about a lot in this game. Marvin Harrison Jr. But the Josh Allen thing, the only Bills player on this team that is going to be starting in week 1 that has caught a pass from Josh Allen is Khalil Shakir.
Fair point.
That's the only wide receiver on this team that's caught a pass from Josh Allen.
So it's at what has my curiosity the most is the Bills wide receiver situation.
Yeah.
So who emerges? Week 1, if you had to pick. Now Curtis Samuel questionable with toe injury, so we'll see on that.
If I have to pick one wide receiver week 1, give me Khalil Shakir.
I'll take Keon Coleman, but we'll get to that here in a sec. Start both quarterbacks, not even a question.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's not a question. Running back. Cardinals side, we've got James Conner, Trey Benson, Amari DiMercado. I think just James Conner right now is the only thing that matters, but you better keep your eye on Trey Benson. And if you have Conner, you better have Benson.
Yeah. But for now,
not quite as important as having Jonathan Taylor and Trey Sermon.
No. Right. Gotta have Trey Sermon.
Yeah, no. That's
if you're gonna have one Trey, have Trey Sermon over Trey Benson. Like,
no, but I think we emphasized it, going into all this, several episodes ago. If you have James Conner, you really should have Trey Benson.
Yeah, for right now, enjoy the draft spot that you got James Conner in and start him and he'll be good.
Strong agree. Amari DiMercado is nothing to worry about anymore, I don't believe. Bill side, James Cook, Ray Davis, Ty Johnson. Listen, I want Ray Davis if I have James Cook. I know that, but if I have James Cook, you're starting him. And I think he could have a pretty good game here. It's the Cardinals are not world beaters up front.
No.
And quite honestly, the Bills a defense lost a lot.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of question marks there. So I think this could actually be like a nice shootout type barn burner game. This could be a fun game.
Yeah.
Could be a lot of fantasy points scored here. Let's move on to wide receiver and the Cardinals side. We have Marvin Harrison, Michael Wilson, Greg Dortch. Not a whole lot of interest outside of Harrison until I see some more. But if I really, really had to, if I slipped up or I got somebody who's hurt or whatever it might be, Michael Wilson might not be the worst flex in the world.
Yeah, I don't think Greg Dortch is the worst flex in the world.
He can support 3 receivers, but the problem is,
There's a weird.
we're going to get to tight end, and
There's a weird thing with like Greg Dortch and Kyler Murray. Like Kyler Murray is not afraid to throw Greg Dortch the ball
there's a thing
at
there,
all.
and he's sure-handed.
Yeah,
There is a thing
but
there.
like you want like Marvin Harrison is the one rookie that I just think there's very little. I just think this guy comes out right out of the gate and is a
I think he's going to be
elite
awesome.
receiver.
Yeah,
Yep.
double-digit targets.
Yep.
On a pretty steady clip, I would imagine.
Yeah.
I'd like to avoid Michael Wilson and Greg Dortch. Again, it's week 1. Unless you're in the deepest of leagues, I don't really see why but it was worth noting. Wilson's got some flash talent, man, and Dortch is one sure-handed guy who Kyler Murray's not afraid to throw it to.
No.
Bill's side, Keon Coleman, Curtis Samuel, who I mentioned earlier, questionable with a toe, so we'll see. And Khalil Shakir, MVS is an afterthought. Give me Keon Coleman. Why not? I'm not too afraid to flex him, and I wouldn't be afraid to flex Shakir. If Samuel plays, is he your favorite, or is it still Shakir?
Right now, I'm going with Shakir.
Okay. If Samuel's healthy, he's a flex. Are all these guys a flex? Coleman, Samuel, Shakir.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know, like in a lot of the preseason games when they had the ones out there, and granted, Trubisky was the quarterback, but like it was Keon Coleman and Mac Hollins on the outside.
That's interesting.
Now I don't know. I'm just saying that as something to think about. I don't think MVS is a factor at all. The Mac Hollins on the outside is intriguing to me, and I assume that means you're running Curtis Samuel and Khalil Shakir in the slot. I still want Khalil Shakir week 1.
Okay. Let me check something real quick. I thought maybe for some reason I saw that Mac Hollins got cut, but I do not see that. So Mac Hollins, I didn't even bring him up. Ain't that something?
Just
Yeah,
I know
that'll
in
be-
preseason he didn't get the targets or anything, but he was
Right.
lined up on the outside
That's odd.
with the ones.
Okay. That was with the ones.
Yeah.
That's odd. That's really weird. But, maybe somebody could have just been dinged up or something. And,
Sure.
yeah, we'll see. I guess we're going to find out here in a few days, aren't we?
Can't wait.
Yep. Tight end. Cardinals side. Trey McBride. You start him.
Take
It's not a
your
question.
pick. I want
Yeah,
both.
Bills,
of these guys.
Dalton Kincaid.
Yeah.
Take your pick. I have no problem here. I did hear an argument today that Dawson Knox ain't going anywhere, and there's going to be a lot of games where they each have like 4 catches, and
No.
I don't think I buy that.
Why didn't he have that last year then?
Yeah, he was hurt, but and I will say when Knox came back, so that whole Dalton Kincaid run was during Knox's injury. When Knox came back, it dropped significantly.
Fair enough.
But I mean, come on, man. He's so
This
much
is another
better.
one of those things though, where it's like you watch the games and it's like
Yes.
the talent is there's a gap there, a
Yes,
big one.
a big one. Agreed, fully. My answer is no. Any defense DST interest at all?
No,
No. I think could be a high scoring game.
Yep, I agree.
Okay, let's move on to the Titans at the Bears. A little bit of a softer start for Caleb than what it could be as far as opponent goes. Could be playing a lot more, notable type defenses.
This is a sneaky defense though.
Yeah, I'm not. They don't. Not to me. Why do you think they're sneaky?
Even last year they were like nobody blew Tennessee out of the water, and it was another team that was just atrocious with quarterback play, and teams were stacking the box against Henry, and but they were just a defense that kept their team in games.
Yeah, I guess.
Young quarterback, and I know it's Caleb Williams and all this, but yeah.
I would temper expectations a little bit, but I think it's a softer start than playing Kansas City. It's a softer
you're not going
start
against the 49ers defense or anything. I get that.
Right.
I 100% agree, but I also don't think this is like
it's not a slam dunk.
No.
It's a softer than what it could be.
Yeah.
Caleb over Levis, Levis over Caleb.
Caleb over Levis.
Just too many weapons.
I'll just take that
too
upside.
Much.
Yeah.
Okay. I think Caleb over Levis is probably the grand consensus there. Running backs, Titans, Tony Pollard, Tajay Spears.
Tajay
Tajay all day.
Yep.
All day long. Flex, Great. I feel real good about him in my flex. Bears, Tony Pollard, though.
I'll still put Tony Pollard in the flex.
If you have one or the other.
Yeah.
If you have both.
Tyjae
Spears. Me too. Bears side, DeAndre Swift and Khalil Herbert. Give me Swift. Roshan's there. What's this Velus Jones stuff?
The Bears running back room is a mess.
Yeah. I'd have to say it's probably Swift, but
this is a timeshare, though.
Man. Yeah. Herbert's he's no slouch.
No, neither is Roshan Johnson.
No.
Not saying either of these guys are like game records or anything, but like both very serviceable backs, and I just don't think there's any clear.
Swift should, with the passing role that you would expect from him.
I think Swift is the lead back, and he's the best fantasy performer. But those other guys are going to get on the field and get work.
Sure, they are. Yeah, he's no slam dunk.
No,
not by any means. Problem is, I don't know how much better you're going to really have. Maybe you do. Maybe you drafted well enough to where Swift is in your flex.
If you did, good for you.
Yes, that could totally be a thing. And if you did, definitely start him in your flex. You could make arguments RB2 depending on how you drafted, though, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Wide receiver, Titans. Calvin Ridley, DeAndre Hopkins, Tyler Boyd. Of course, Treylon Burks still lingering around. Yeah, I mean, if I had to, I'd put either Ridley or Hopkins in my flex.
I want Hopkins.
Me too. Hopkins over Ridley. Yep, that's an easy. And he's there. There's already a little bit of a rapport with Levis, so that's nice. Outside of that, I'm not a whole lot of interest.
No.
And quite honestly, I would like to have somebody better than Hopkins or Ridley in my flex right now.
I feel good about Hopkins in my flex.
Okay. I would rather have. Well, on the Bear side, give me Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen or DeAndre Hopkins?
Hopkins.
Give me Allen. So Bear side, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Roma Dunes. DJ Moore obviously is your favorite here.
Yeah, the other two I want to see what happens.
I think Allen starts out with the 2. After that,
it is no question of Allen's talent. It's his role in this offense, and it's the contract situation.
Sure,
being there for a year.
Yep.
How much are they gonna Are they gonna go all in and say that he's the guy because he's the best wide receiver this year? Or is the Dunes gonna get in there and I think that's a week 1 problem, honestly. I don't know. I
think you're going to see a lot of 3 receiver sets.
I hope so.
I do think that.
Just for the excitement of Caleb Williams being back there with 3 wide receivers that are that capable, I think is fun.
Still give me Keenan Allen for my soft spot. I have such a soft spot for him.
Oh, I love Keenan Allen.
And it's probably, I don't know if that's a heart over my brain thing. I think you could almost flip a coin with Allen and Hopkins, maybe.
Oh, I'll be honest with you. With the whole Pittsburgh mess this year, I wanted Keenan to come to Pittsburgh so bad.
Yeah, I bet you.
Why didn't we trade for him?
All right, yeah. If you have more, you're starting them. Keenan and O'Dunes. It's kind of up in the air. I probably wouldn't start O'Dunes. I would start Allen. Well over O'Dunes. You.
Yeah, if I have to make that choice.
For now.
Yep.
Okay. Tight end. Titans Chigakonkwo. I have no interest. I don't have any interest. The Bears Cole Kmet. I mean, I'm going to. So
this is the tight end right under that tier behind Goddard and Freiermuth.
Right. I will say in my redraft league, I took Hawkinson, and I waited a few rounds, and I took Cole Kmet. So I have to start. I looked at the waivers, and I'm like, nope, it's Cole Kmet. I guess I'm rolling with Cole Kmet. So start him if you have to.
Yeah.
If you can avoid it, I think you probably should.
I will say I don't know how much the rookie quarterback thing with Caleb Williams plays in, where rookie quarterbacks team to throw to tight ends. With those weapons on the outside, I worry that that's where Caleb's going to go. Not saying Kmet's not going to get targets, but
right.
It's
more to the outside than inside right now.
Yeah, it's not the same as other rookie quarterbacks where you're like if Drake May gets in there, you feel like some tight ends are going to get the ball. I just don't know with Caleb Williams that he's going to be so tight end friendly as some rookie quarterbacks are.
Sure. That makes great sense. We've got one more game. Let's move on to the last one. The Jaguars at the Dolphins. My biggest question here personally is does Trevor Lawrence, does he have what he needs as far as playmakers and support to finally show us what the hype was all about?
Yeah, but I think he had it last year. I don't think there's a big transition other than early on him getting adjusted from Brian Thomas Jr. to Calvin Ridley.
Sure.
So you still have a talented wide receiver core. You have Travis Etienne at your running back. Good quarterbacks have done more with less than Trevor Lawrence has, even since he's been in the NFL.
Yeah, Evan Ingram.
Yeah, Evan Ingram.
Yeah.
I mean, you have weapons around you. You can say whatever you want about, it might not be the best cast, but it's not a bad supporting cast either.
No.
Justin Fields would have killed for that around him when he was in Chicago.
Bryce Young.
Yeah, exactly. That's like the Trevor Lawrence thing. And I have a lot of confidence in Doug Peterson. I think Trevor Lawrence has a good year this year. I think he has his best season.
Players love him.
Yeah.
Peterson. They love Doug Peterson.
And he knows what he's doing. And I know that Eagles thing was a mess. But Doug Peterson, I think, is going to get this figured out this year with Trevor Lawrence. I think it's going to be a better year for him.
I hope so. As an Eagles fan, I love Doug.
Yeah.
Love Doug. If you had to choose Lawrence or Tua, week 1.
Tua.
Really?
Yeah.
Tua. After all that hate, Ty.
Yeah, but
that was more dynasty speaking.
It was. And I just don't think that this Jaguars defense is that good.
No, it's not. It's not.
And with all them weapons on the Dolphins side of the ball,
this might be the better defense for Caleb to start out against instead of the Titans.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. There's not a lot there, defense speaking. Yeah, give me Tua. He's got Tyreek Hill. Let me. And all those
Jalen Waddle,
wild, speedy running backs to catch the ball. Yeah, for sure. Give me Tua, and it's home. Yeah. It's for the Dolphins. Running backs, Jaguars side, Travis Etienne and Tank Bigsby. Of everything that I've said about Travis Etienne, if you have him, start him. I mean, I'd be a moron to sit here. Well, don't even start him in redraft. You start Travis Etienne.
I like this matchup for Etienne.
Yes. I like this matchup for any running back.
Fair enough.
I think that most of the Dolphins' talent lies in the secondary anyway, right?
For sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Etienne is a fine start this week.
Got some good pass rushers, but I mean the talent's at the back end.
Okay, for sure. Dolphins, Raheem Mostert, Devon Achane, it's Devon Achane, and Jalen Wright. Man, I mean it's Mostert, right?
I want Achane.
Well, I mean as far as who the one is,
I want to start Achane this week.
But I think it's Achane.
The big play upside is just too much to ignore.
It's massive. It's massive. Do you think Mostert takes a backseat to Achane?
Yeah.
Does that start to happen now?
Yeah.
It has to, right?
Yeah. Mostert's going to get touches, but
sure.
I honestly am going to make a prediction right now that by the end of the season, it's more Wright and Achane than Mostert.
100%.
I just think that that's how it's going to be.
I can't make an argument against that. Come on, man.
And week 1 even, if I'm sitting there and I took Raheem Mostert and Devon Achane, I'm starting Achane this week. Just because of the big playability.
It's too big.
Yeah.
I mean, and you took Achane way before Mostert. You should be starting.
Right, yeah,
for sure. Wide receivers for the Jaguars, Christian Kirk, Brian Thomas Jr., Gabe Davis, Devin Duvernay. I would prefer to not start any of these guys, to be honest with you. I say that as somebody who didn't draft any of them on purpose.
I don't think I have a Jaguars wide receiver in any league.
If I had to choose, it's Christian Kirk.
Yeah, 100%.
Rookies we've been a little spoiled with rookie receivers here.
I want Brian Thomas in dynasties.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah.
But week 1 redraft, we're talking points this week.
Give me Kirk, give me Ingram.
That's it.
That's it. Dolphin side, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. That's probably about it. Behind that, you got OBJ. Malik Washington's probably going to return some kicks. I think. I don't know about that for sure. Barrios is there. I don't know.
Tyreek Hill, wide receiver 1, obviously.
Yes, it's not
Jalen Waddle, flex with wide receiver 2 upside.
Yeah, and if he's your receiver 2, that's probably fine too.
Yep.
Tight end. Jaguars, Evan Ingram. It's a start. I mean, you're starting Evan Ingram.
And you're feeling good about it.
Yes. I'll tell you what you're not feeling good about is if you have any Dolphins. Tight ends, man. Jonnu Smith and Durham Smythe, hard pass. No, thank you.
If you have to start Jonnu Smith this week, just do something else with your spare time. watch Johnny Smith have like 120 yards and 2
I know.
touchdowns.
Ridiculous. He'll get in the end zone at some point.
Oh, yeah.
He'll have a 1 catch for 5 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, well, Durham Smythe had like a 2 touchdown game last week. It was like, oh, cool. He's on no one's fantasy roster.
Yeah, ever. Avoid Jaguars and start Miami DST.
I don't want to start either of these defenses.
But if you had to,
if I have to pick one,
yes. Give me Miami.
yeah, give me Miami's defense.
Okay. Ty, that was the last game for 1 o'clock. Do you have any final thoughts?
Wait. I cannot wait.
I know, dude. I'm so
the Thursday and
ecstatic.
Friday games, like you're excited. You're like, oh man, football's back. But you get to Sunday, you got Red Zone on, and it's just like, let's do this.
Yeah, I'm so pumped. So is Bird Person. Yeah, I'm really excited. I share the same sentiment as you, but my final thoughts are verbatim what you just said. I'm absolutely ecstatic, and I'm pumped. So that's going to be it for today's show. Again, as always, thank you all so much for tuning in and giving us your support. Remember, our PPR Superflex Dynasty rankings are now available in the description. Just click the corresponding link. They are available as well on our Twitter. Also, check the description for instructions on how to get your trades graded. Join us next time where Tyler and I will preview the 4 o'clock primetime Sunday games, and as well, we will do the Monday Night Football game. Please remember to like, follow, and subscribe to our Spotify, Twitter, and YouTube, and please tell your friends. See you next time, everybody.